welcome back to Dynasty Football Maniacs. I believe I got it right today. How you guys doing?
You
I'm doing
did.
great. All right, Austin. Today we're going to be covering the free agents and where they're going to go. Now, we did this last year. Our last year episodes released on March 10th and March 12th. We did a 2 episode. We both guessed 14 player, well, not 14, yeah, 14 each. And this was the results last year. Now, I'm not going to rub it in Austin. I know what his projections were last year and why he did what he did. I get it. And I think he'll do better this year than he'll do because he's made it harder for me this year. And I did 14-6. Pretty good results for last year projections. This year is going to be interesting. We're going to do something similar. The difference is instead of us picking 3 teams, we're only going to pick one team of where they're going to go, which is going to make it harder. And this time, I think we're both focused on who's going to get the most because I think Austin's going to really try to beat me on this one. I think he wants me to lose on this one, right?
I'm here to have fun, but if you do lose in the process, that's just a bonus.
All right. Just remember, in June, I am going to Dallas. And I am going to take a tour of Jerry Jones's house with this shirt on. So, guys, get ready for me. I'm coming. Uh, I want to thank him for all the hard work he's put in at Dallas. He's made it better for me. Today we're going to cover free agents. These are basically people who are fixing to be released and maybe not released, could possibly stay with their team. We're only going to get one destination to pick, and we randomly just decided whoever we picked. I made sure one of the guys I had on my list, Austin had on his list, but there was only one I had. So I went ahead and replaced him with someone else. And when we get to that guy, we'll talk about him. But the funny thing is me and Austin guessed the same place. So at the end of the day, if he gets that right, I count that for me too. Okay.
Oh, God. Well, it depends on the player.
Depends on the player. All right. So we're going to just run through these lists real quick and, starting with our first one on the list. Well, we'll start with Austin's first one.
Oh, okay.
Quarterback Sam Darnold for the Minnesota Vikings. So you are projecting him to go to the Seahawks. Why?
Well, originally, when I first made this list, I had him projected to go to the Raiders until literally about like an hour before our show. We get the news that the Seahawks actually traded this Geno Smith to the Raiders. So, of course, I had to make a pivot, and, you know, why not the Seahawks? Because they literally just traded away their quarterback, and literally before us, there was a report that I just saw where they were eyeing Sam Darnold. So, you know, they're going to need a quarterback, and, they're not in a position to really draft one in the draft where the range they're at now, unless they trade up or something. But I highly doubt they will because there's only really one quarterback that I would really want to trade up for, and I'm not spending that much. So, but yeah, that's the reason why I have Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks because now they got to have a replacement for Geno Smith.
Yeah, so my take on that is I don't think they will. I think they're going to have Sam Howell as the future quarterback, but that's an interesting take. I like it. Uh, the next one is Justin Fields for you, and you have him staying with or going to.
Right now, I got him projected to go to the Steelers because out of the two between him and Russell Wilson, they seem to like Justin Fields a little bit more, especially after the end of the year of what that debacle that Russell Wilson had with that offense and stuff, and especially the embarrassment in the playoff games. So, they could still, like, later in the draft, get another quarterback, but they still need to have somebody there to at least, either start or have a quarterback competition with. So I think Justin Fields will be a good spot since he's already there and he's already got a year under his belt.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna cover my running backs. I went with Russell Wilson. Everybody knows that Steelers are going to let him go or already let him go. I believe he will go to the Titans. And why I say that is I think the Titans will not, I think their first round pick will be used for a different position. And it'll be a nice 1 year do me job position to fill. And out of the quarterbacks that are out there for free agents, that I don't think will be grabbed up quick enough and is affordable for the Titans would be Russell Wilson as a starter. Now, with that being said, I don't think he's the permanent fixture at the Titans. I think the Titans do have a plan. I just don't think it's going to be the first round of the NFL draft this year. My second quarterback is I got Gardner Minshew. Now, yes, it's silly where I'm sending him, but I believe it makes sense. He is known to be a great backup, a great understudy to help out young guys. I mean, he's been in situations already. I think he'll end up going to the Giants, but he is not the Giants starter. I think the Giants will put him as a backup quarterback. I believe they will draft in the 2025 draft as a quarterback, and you got to have something behind there a little bit better than what they got right now. So I think they're a clean house. They're going to add Gardner Minshew. Now, I have a third quarterback on my list, and we're going to go positions. That's why I'm going my third one.
Okay.
And then the next ones will go into running backs. So my third one is Mac Jones. Yes, he was cut from Jacksonville. Now, I would love to see Mac Jones back in another starting position. But in the NFL world that we have currently, and for whatever reason, the situations he's been put in, he has not succeeded to that starting position again. But there is teams, big NFL teams that have needs for good backups. And I think Mac Jones is going to go back home to a buddy of his and back him up for a little bit, and that's Tua. So I think Miami might end up picking up Mac Jones as a backup quarterback, and that would be ironic, but I could feel it and I could see it, and there has been a little bit of rumors about it. It would be exciting because I'll tell you a little story. In 2018, I got to see probably one. Now, look, I am a Buckeye fan. Let me get that straight. Diehard Ohio State, but I'm also a football fan. So if I get tickets to go see a championship game, it doesn't matter who it is, I'm going. Okay, so I got to see Georgia and Alabama. And on that field, you had Mac Jones, Tua, Jalen Hurts on Alabama. And then on Georgia's side, you had Farm and Justin Fields. That following year, you had the starter for Oklahoma, the starter for Alabama, which was Mac Jones, because Tua went on to the pros. And then you had Justin Fields that went to Ohio State. So, I mean, that was a pretty impressive, little group to see. But that's my outtake. So we're going to run back to Austin's list. And this is the guy he stole from me, but I'm fine with it.
Well, you could have done him too.
No, because we would have picked the same thing, and that's Najee Harris.
Okay.
So who did you think Najee Harris would go to?
Well, I think I chose the Raiders because they really need running back help, especially after last year when I was extremely hyped for Zamir White
Yeah, I was
because
too.
of I was extremely hyped because of what I saw when Josh Jacobs missed some time playing when he was with the Raiders. I was really hyped for what I saw, but then when the opportunity brought itself upon to him, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
It wasn't really pretty. They really need some running help, and honestly, I thought Najee just fit the bill for the Raiders because the Raiders, they really like the power back kind of running backs. So
Yes.
Najee, he's not the fastest, but he is he will put a bruising on you whenever he has the opportunity to. So that's the
Yeah.
reason why I have him going. I have Najee going to the Raiders.
And I think that's a wonderful choice. So this is one of the few times you're going to just see me just want to run over there and hug Austin. No, I want to hug him every day. It's all good. The next one is the next running back for Austin's list is Aaron Jones. So let's tell the folks where you think his next destination is going to be. And I really do. When I seen this, it didn't dawn on me, but
Hmm.
it also excited me. So and it takes a lot. Well, no, it doesn't take a lot. The wind can blow and I get excited. But on the other hand, this excited me. So let's hear where you got him going.
So I thought about this, and whenever I was making the list, I was doing looking at the running back needy teams, and I also thought about the type of running backs that would fit into some offensive schemes. And I think the one that would be very perfect for Aaron Jones, especially with Sean Payton being there and
Oh,
the way he likes to use running backs, I think Aaron Jones would be wonderful with the Broncos because look, their running back core was awful last
oh
year.
God, yeah. And
You
they
know,
had some promises, but it wasn't
you
enough
know,
promises to
right.
open it up.
So we had a lot of hope for Javonte. We
Yes.
had a lot of hope because he did show it at first. He was showing it until he got hurt. Then
Yeah.
once he got hurt, he just never couldn't get it back. Just couldn't get it back. So, they need running back help. And even if they do, draft a running back in the second or third round, they still need a committee
Oh God,
until
yeah.
they
And that's
still
how
need
it
a
needs to be in the
committee.
NFL.
And plus, Sean Payton likes to have two running backs. He likes to run two running backs, even the days of the Saints, because Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, they had those two combos, and he haven't had two before then.
Yep.
So I think Aaron Jones, the Broncos with Sean Payton would be a wonderful fit, especially for fantasy.
I do. I do. I would be really excited. So leading into another team that needs help in the running back room, and it's more because of injuries. I mean, it was a time when this team was solid in running back, and then one got hurt, and then the next one stepped up and he was solid, and then he got hurt. And then after that, it was like whispers in the air, not ear. Well, I've been whispered in the ear before too, but I mean, it happened in the air this time. And that is the Browns. So I think the Browns are going to pick up Jamal Williams. And I know it ain't much to pick up, but it is a start to start building a committee because they need it. They need all the help they can get. So that's where I have Jamal Williams going as a running back. I do believe that the Chargers will let J.K. Dobbins go, and that's sad, but it is true because I think Hardball's that guy. He's going to rebuild. He's going to take advantage of whatever he can take advantage of. And there's so much going on in the free agent thing and in the draft. I just don't think J.K. might be on his group just to go around. But I do believe something exciting could happen, and I believe a smart decision will happen. And this is where I'm going in June. I think Dallas could possibly sign J.K. Dobbins as a part of the committee, which would be a nice little thing. I don't think they're going to pay a whole lot for the guy. He is injury prone, but I think it'll help
I
build that
wouldn't
whole room up.
I wouldn't mind that. I would have really hoped we still drafted a running back
Oh, I
in
believe
the
they
first
will.
round, but if we do need somebody to give some support as well. So I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna swap it up. I'm gonna start with my wide receivers
Okay.
and then go into your wide receivers. So I'm gonna pick the big name in the room. Or well, actually, there's a lot of big names in the room on this one, but to me, well, I don't know. That'd be an argument. I'm going to go with Devontae Adams. So
Ugh.
we know he's leaving the Jets, but you know something? Devontae fits somewhere, and this is where he fits. He fits with Hardball. And why I say he's going to go to Hardball? Hardball is going to tag him up with Lad McConkey. It's going to give him that other
Okay.
goal.
For a minute there, I was about to ask which Harbaugh, but since you said him, I understand where now.
Now, Chargers. So yes, I do believe Devontae Adams will head to the Chargers, and it would be a nice fit, I think. The other one that was a shocker, but I seen it coming because we all seen JSN take the room. And we know they're not going to get rid of DK. DK is just too valuable at this time and more valuable than him. And that's Tyler Lockett. And I hate it for Tyler Lockett because I think he's had a solid 10 years at the Seahawks. It's been great. But his daddy's at the Raiders right now. So I think his daddy's going to say, hey, come home, son. I got you for your last couple years. We need a little help. Get everything organized up here. I'm not promising you a whole lot, but you're going to come to the Raiders. I think he's going to end up signing with the Raiders. And that's just because of the Pete Carroll thing going up there. And that's one of his boys. So it seems like he's pulling in certain boys of his that he liked better than other. And I know a lot of people are heartbroken that it wasn't Russell Wilson. But I told you he had more love for Geno Smith. Just saying. And that's wrong because now Russell's going to hate me for saying that statement. So now I'm not going to have a quarterback like me, like he even listens to me. Uh, so the next one is going into your list, and I like your list. Your list, well, the first one I was kind of like, yeah and no, but I get it. It makes sense. But I'm gonna
Well,
let you talk to it. Chris Godwin. You
okay,
think?
so the reason why I got Chris Godwin and I yes, I do have him go back to the Buccaneers, but I put him on the list because it's he's a big name in fantasy, and I thought he was a pretty big topic to talk about because he does have his injuries, but at the same time, you know he's expressed interest of wanting to stay in with the Bucks for obvious reasons because Baker Mayfield's there. He's got a confident quarterback. Um, and also, the Buccaneers, they could go out and get somebody else, but they like familiarity. There's the reason why they still have Mike Evans, and they like Chris Godwin too. So I believe that they will actually make I think it will make a friendly deal that works for both. And I think Chris Godwin will probably actually retire with the Bucks. So
I
that's the reason why but I also want to bring him up because I think he's still going to be. Now he's not going to be, he's not going to finish in your top 10 in wide receivers, but he will be a good wide receiver too, especially if he stays healthy of this coming year. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring him up and talk about him because he's a big name in fantasy, and a lot of us have him on our fantasy rosters, and some people have questions. They might have concerns about him, so I wanted to express my opinions about it. That way, if anybody you know, wanted to put it to rest, I would say, just rest easy. I think we're still gonna get what we've always got as
Yep.
long as he stays healthy.
Yep. So the next one you got is Amari Cooper, one of my favorite wide receivers. Actually, I wasn't an Alabama fan, but I do like this guy. I liked him when he was with the Raiders through his entire career. I think he's done decent. I just think sometimes he's been shaded. So you have him going to, which was a shocker because I just didn't see this. But you go ahead and explain
Well,
your story.
so with Amari Cooper, I have him going to the Commanders, and here's why. So when you have a superstar like Jaden Daniels, you need to put weapons around him. And we're always want to try to find that young stud in the wide receiver department to put around with our quarterbacks, which they can still do that if they want to. They can still go in the draft and do that. That's nothing. But you still need to have somebody with great route running and high IQ in that department to break away from the receivers whenever things start breaking down. Yes, they did trade for Debo, but Debo is getting up there in age, and I know Mark Cooper's kind of old too, but Debo has took a little bit more punishment than Amari Cooper has been because they used Debo as like a damn running back for the couple of years. So, and plus Debo is really good on short bursts in the slot and stuff. So you have Debo in the slot, and then you have Terry McLaurin going down there, throwing the top off with going down there and opening the field. And then you have Amari Cooper, who can actually get open. Honestly, that would be just tremendous for Jaden Daniels, especially for his second year. I think that would be a tremendous fit for them because they have a lot of wide receivers that are unrestricted free agents too, so they got to fill them up somehow. And they don't have to spend so much for Amari Cooper either.
No.
They can spend on like a 1 year deal. They can do a 1 year deal and test the waters with him. And they can also go and get a wide receiver. If they didn't want to do, they wanted to cover first round with defense or something. They don't have to, and because this wide receiver class coming out this year is kind of rough. You know, I think we both agree that this wide receiver class coming into this year is not the strongest.
No, it's got onesies or twosies in it.
Right. So, instead of playing guessing games of if he's going to be the next guy, get you Amari Cooper. And then if you want to take a wide receiver in the later rounds and then, see what he does, then there was no harm, no foul in that.
Oh, I totally agree. So running out of the wide receivers, that covers our wide receiver group. I'm the only one that has a tight end, which is fine because we didn't do positionals. So I took Evan Ingram from Jacksonville when he was
See, I
released.
see. I when I was doing my list, Evan Ingram wasn't released, so that's the reason why when I looked at the list, there really wasn't a juicy tight end for me. So that's the
Well, the
reason why I
only
didn't
reason he ended up on my list is because you took Najee Harris. Uh, so he was my filler. So that's how he got on my list today. So that answers everything. It's like a big circle. He wasn't there because he wasn't released, but now he's released. And it was between him and the running back from Miami. And I'd just rather talk about him than the other guy. So with Evan Ingram, I think the best fit for him would probably be the Saints. And why I say the Saints probably have the biggest need for a tight end. I know they
Yeah.
got Tyson Hill and all them other guys. They're injured. They're old. So is Evan Ingram. Don't get me wrong, but they need that 1 year stability because now
Mm.
Hawker did not do too bad, but he still has a lot of work ahead of him. He's not ready. And I think if you bring in someone like Evan, that would be a big thing for Hawker there. I think it will help him grow as a tight end. It'll improve his playing ability. And I think the Saints do really need it. And I think it would be a great fit. So going into the defensive side, we're going to cover the DLs or Ds. DLs is what the fantasy refers to them, but ours is going to have a couple of DLs and slash. So I have two DLs slash linebackers, and you have two DLs, but one slash linebacker. That's fine. So basically, that'll cover all my linebackers, but then you'll have some additional linebackers to talk about, which is exciting because all these guys are great guys. So I'm going to start with my DL because I only got two. And then we're going to go into your two DLs and then cover your two linebackers. And then we're going to jump into defensive backs. So the first guy on the board is Joey Bosa. So, yes, it's first time in his career he's going to be a free agent. Wow. I honestly believe there's a lot of teams that could use him. And I thought the Lions at first because he'd be great to put with Aiden Hutchinson because Aiden Hutchinson's the only thing they got on that part of it. And he was hurt, and it would be good to have someone like that. But then I thought that would just be too much. I think the biggest need out there is probably the Bengals. The Bengals defense needs a lot of work. And I think he'll be a great fit if he can stay healthy. I think it'll be a great him coming back to Ohio too would be a enthusiastic thing. And any
Well,
guy,
that also helped them since they let Trey Hendricks, seek a trade
yes. So
earlier this week too. So I can see it.
yeah, so I think the Bengals would probably be Joey Bosa's best bet. And I'm not a Bengals fan. Everybody can see what fan I truly am, but let me tell you, I'm a fantasy fan. So when I say I'm a fantasy fan, I do IDP and regular. So defensive players matter to me. And it would be good to see him go to the Bengals because I think he could be a big impact. He'd be great on fantasy points. As long as he could stay healthy, that's the concern, the healthiness. The next one I have, which is a DL slash LB, and what that means in IDP is they can play both positions, which is wonderful. They need to do wide receivers and running backs and tight ends a little bit more like that. That'd be even better. But that's me. They don't do that in the real world, so it doesn't happen. Some of them do, but not a whole lot. Harold Landry was just released, and I think he'll end up going to the Cardinals because I think it'd be a great fit there at the Cardinals. That defensive group needs a little help, and I think with his experience, he could help grow that team and make an immediate impact. Another thing is the guy that is the current manager, or I know he works in the office there, was former Titans, so they have some connection. Worked with him for 3 years. I think he's already looking at him. He'd be a good fit for the group. So now we're going to roll over to Austin's list, which We're going to be over there for just a little bit because he's got two DLs, one slash LB, and then two LBs. That's fine. We're going to start with the DL guy, the straight up DL, Josh Sweat. Where do you think he's going?
Well, I think he would probably actually be going to the Bears because they need defensive line help. And I think if you get Josh Sweat and put him on the side, on the opposite side of Montez Sweat, I think you could have a really good defensive line. And plus, the defensive scheme for the Bears will just fit perfect for him. So that's where I got Josh Sweat going.
Oh, yeah, I think that'd be a good fit. Bears need help. So your next DL, LB slash, uh,
Yeah. So
you got Mac.
yeah, I got a. He's basically gonna be there. He's basically really gonna be used as a defensive end more, but you know,
You can
some
play him in both
sides,
positions, so it doesn't
some
matter.
slides like sleeper like to have the LB slash on him, but if we're really actually talking about NFL wise, they really use him 90% of the time at defensive end. But
Yes, yes.
I I think I think a really good fit because they're going to need the help, especially because they run their defense. They run a base 3-4 defense, so they'll have their linebackers, their edge linebackers to get out to go rush. So I think Leo Mack would be a good fit with the Buccaneers because they run a base 3-4, which means the left linebacker and the right linebacker will most of the time be going out on the edge to go after the quarterback. And Khalil Mack is really good at going after the quarterback.
Yes.
So, and plus, they've got a lot of unrestricted free agents on defense too, so they're really going to need help to solidify that defense. So why not get him? Now, why not get him on a 1 or 2 year deal? Something relatively cheap, and he can still go out there and attack the quarterback, or if not, just get pressure on the guy
Gotcha.
and disrupt them. So that's where I got Khalil Mack going.
And I think it's a great fit. And the next one I actually like a lot. I actually thought about it after I seen you write it down. I was like, okay. The next one on your linebacker is Drew Greenlaw. I really like where you got him going.
Yeah, and yeah, I know he had an injury for most of the year last year because he suffered a torn Achilles in the Super Bowl when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. He tore his Achilles in that game, and then it took tearing your Achilles, and for some positions it takes a lot longer to get back on track than the others. But man, when Drew, the couple of games that Drew Greenlaw did play in, whenever he was coming back from that injury last year, he scored over 15 points in fantasy, and that's really impressive for somebody that's coming off an Achilles. Now, obviously, this is his first year back, so next year, I would still take a chance. I don't know if I was a team. That's the reason why I think the 49ers will keep him. I think the 49ers, they actually already done had discussions, and they really want to try to keep Drew Greenlaw in there because he is a bona fide linebacker, and he was before he got hurt. And I think I am willing to take a chance on him of getting his form back.
Yeah, I
When
totally agree.
I'm willing to take the chance on it. So I think the 49ers, they really like him. I think they are going to keep him and bring him back.
And I think you feel the same thing about Nick Bolton, don't you? Linebacker.
Yes, I do. I think Nick Bolton
Yeah, I
and
don't
I
see him going anywhere else. I don't see him going anywhere else either.
see that's what I'm saying because I have both of these guys on one of my fantasy IDP leagues, and Nick Bolton really talked about loving being in Kansas City, and they Kansas City has expressed their interest in wanting to keep him as well. So I really think they're going to come to, and plus Nick Bolton is their top linebacker back there.
And then
If they
also,
go
you
ahead.
go, and also you got to look at this last year's scenario with Chris Jones. It was like it was almost the same scenario. He loved being there. They loved him. They kept him. I think it's the same whole
R- Right,
scenario.
right. And without Nick Bolton, that linebacking core is going to look terrible.
I
And
agree.
and I doubt they really want to go through that. So I really think that they are going to come together, and I really think they're going to re-sign Nick Bolton, and he's going to be a Chiefs. He's going to be a Chiefs for the near future.
This makes sense. So now we're going to go into our defensive backs. So my first defensive back that was released from the Eagles was James Bradberry. I think he'll go to the Jets. Why? Because one of the guys in the office is a former Eagles guy. He has brought another Eagles defensive guy back home, but then had to let him go because they just couldn't come to terms. I think on this one they'll come to terms because I think James will take whatever he got. He come off that injury. He's wanting to play. He's a great defensive back. I think that's something the Jets need. That they need some defensive backs and they need to fill them spots. And I think that'd be a great fit. My other defensive back is Darius Slade was let go, but I think he's going to join the Commanders. And why I say he's going to go to the Commanders needs help too. They ain't loaded. They got some good ones down there, but a little bit of help ain't going to hurt them. And I think this will be an easy sign for them. Not too much hit on the cap. A great fit for the team, and a good veteran experience out there. And then now we're going to go into Austin's two DBs, which he has. Your first one, you have Javon Holland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just like what you just said, you have a guy going to the Jets. So I got Javon Holland going to the Jets as well. And you spoke about a lot of the things. They really need help on defense because they have majority of their defense is unrestricted free agents,
Yeah,
and they are going to be losing a lot of people. So you need to you need to get somebody back there to help your defense out extremely well because right now they're rebuilding once again. They are in rebuild mode once again, and why not get somebody who's decently young and help out your defensive back department and get Javion Holland. I mean, I really think that that's where he's going to go to. Heck, they might even get your guy too. They might get both of them.
they would actually need both of them. I don't think one's going to help the team. But I couldn't send both of my DBs to one team. I didn't see that happening, but I could
Yeah,
see one of them going. So
yeah.
the next one you got is and like you said, a lot of it is because the Jets is full of free agents right now. It's like
Hmm.
everybody's leaving, everybody's coming. It's like that whole defense end is like a wash.
All right.
So you're going to the next DB, Samuel Jr. Where you got him
Mhm.
going?
I got Asante Samuel Jr. going to where his daddy played football,
I thought so.
and that is with the New England Patriots. And the New England Patriots need depth in that defensive department, and especially in the defensive back department, because yes, they have Christian Gonzalez back there, but they are going to need more depth to back him up. And that's the reason why I believe that they're going to basically just, they know their daddy's played with them, and New England's all about running it back with ex, New England players and ex, you know, having their coaches being ex football players for New England and stuff. So I'm like, hey, we know your dad. Why don't you just come to us with open arms? We will gladly take you in.
That's right. So I think this is a pretty good list. I like how we're doing it this year. Last year was our first show we ever did on this. And like I said, we released it on March 10th and 12th. We did 2 episodes because we did like something like different last year. But I think we did better this year putting our stuff together. So we were able to put it in one episode, which is even more exciting. Now, what we're going to do with this is we're going to track it all season. And when it gets to the start of the season, I'll report out in one of the episodes on what we have trackers to keep track of who's right and wrong. Last year, like I said, I got 6 right. Austin got 2 out of 14. Some of my players that I picked out of the other 6 didn't even get put on teams. So it's like that could happen this year too, because some of these players are in their senior years. and some of them might not get signed. I mean, some of these positions can get swallowed up, and then some could just be like whatever. There was some I just wanted to stay away from, like Daniel Jones and things like that. They were unsure commodities. I try to talk about the surety because I want to be accurate on the information I give you guys. And I think Austin feels the same way. I think more and more when we do this show, we want to give you guys some kind of accuracy of what we believe is going on in the NFL and help you guys out. If you guys like the content, I want you guys to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And what do you always say?
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. That's right.